Welcome to the third episode of Dinosaur News of the Week for the 3rd of September to the 9th of September. Coming up, Europe's smallest Abelisaurid is now a very specific type of Abelisaurid. The death of 2 baby Pterodactylus is revealed, and Spinosaur teeth are found in Peru from 20 million years after the Spinosaurs went extinct. First up, the dinosaur news that technically happened last week. On the 2nd of September, just a few hours after finishing last week's video, the Jurassic World Evolution 3 database added 6 more animals, including the Jurassic World Dominion variant of Iguanodon, Atrociraptor, Ceratosaurus, Homalocephaly, and Attenborough, as well as the hybrid Ankylodocus, which will all be coming to Jurassic World Evolution 3. All of these animals come with male, female, and baby variants except the Ankylodocus because it is a hybrid. Also on the 2nd of September, the Kickstarter trailer for the long-awaited Dino Run 2 was finally uploaded, revealing new multiplayer gameplay footage, showing some of the new dinosaurs that will be playable, and even showing that there will be a sandbox mode, allowing you to design your own levels and play other people's levels too. Also on the 2nd, the first official Jurassic World add-on was released on the Minecraft Marketplace. It was made by the same people who made the Jurassic World Dominion map, and also contains dinosaurs from Jurassic World Rebirth. It might be a good one to feature on a Minecraft Marketplace Mondays episode on my gaming channel, Bodymob65, which you should definitely subscribe to, after subscribing to this one of course. Now for the news that actually happened this week. In a new study from Carnets published on the 3rd of September, the Abelisaurid Genusaurus is reclassified as a Furileusaurian. This small early Cretaceous theropod from France has gone through a messy taxonomical history. At first, it was interpreted as a Coelophysauride when it was named in 1995, during a period when paleontologists thought that Coelophysaurids were ceratosaurs. The Coelophysaurids were subsequently reclassified as being more basal than the ceratosaurs, and Genusaurus was reclassified as a Noasaurid in 2008, and then as the Majungasaurian Abelisaurid in 2016. In subsequent papers, its position in the Abelisaurid family tree keeps shifting. This new paper confirms this animal is an Abelisaurid, and specifically a Furileusaurian. That is the group that includes all animals closer to Carnotaurus than to Allocalysia, Scorpiovenator, and Majungasaurus. However, this new research could also lead to the invalidation of Genusaurus as a genus. See what I did there? I'm sorry. Back when it was first described, it seemed to be very unique for a Coelophysauride with its hatchet-shaped cnemial crest on its tibiae. Over the years, more synapomorphies for this genus were identified, such as 6 co-ossified sacral vertebrae, a thickened dorsal margin of the fused neural spines for the sacral vertebra, and a straight dorsal margin of the ilium, all of which still make it incredibly unique for a Noasaurid and a Majungasaurian Abelisaurid, but all 4 of these characteristics are synapomorphies of Furileusaria as a whole, meaning that while these fossilized remains definitely belong to a Furileusaurian, it has no unique characteristics that separate this genus from other Furileusaurians. Its validity is hinging on the fact that it's the only early Cretaceous French Furileusaurian found so far. Now for the excessively slow lightning round of news. On the 3rd of September in the Scandinavia University Press, the growth rates of Protoceratops andrewsi and Bagaceratops rochdestenskii were analysed by comparing the skulls of the hatchlings, juveniles, teens and adults of these species. The study found that, based on how certain parts of their skulls changed as they grew, baby Protoceratopsids preferred softer vegetation, but began to exclusively eat tough vegetation in adulthood. The paper also suggests this dietary shift could be due to young Protoceratopsids being able to feed themselves without their parents' presence, as indicated by fossil assemblages of large groups of juvenile Protoceratops that were found nowhere near any adult fossils. On the 5th of September in the Journal of Paleontology, the teeth of various ankylosaurs were studied to figure out their dietary niches as well as their phylogeny. This paper supported the 2023 hypothesis that Nodosaurids are a paraphyletic grade of ankylosaurs that includes the Ankylosaurids, with the traditional Nodosaurid species being split into the Polycanthids, the Struthiosaurids, and the Panoplosaurids. The paper also finds that the Struthiosaurids and Panoplosaurs both had more dental variation among them than the other ankylosaur families, which indicates that these two families had a wider range of diets and filled a larger range of niches than other ankylosaurian clades. On the 6th of September in the Zoological Journal of the Linnaean Society, the appendicular skeleton of Macrocolum itaquai was described, with particular emphasis on the hand morphology. Not only is Macrocolum known from several near-complete skeletons, but it's one of the few non-sauropod sauropodomorphs with the most complete and well-articulated hands. These are particularly similar to the hands of other early dinosaurs such as the Herrerasaurian tower and the Cephalornithischian Heterodontosaurus, giving further insight into how this evolved across all of Dinosauria. In addition, for a fairly derived non-sauropod sauropodomorph, its wrists still share more in common with more basal sauropodomorphs, such as Eoraptor, than it does with more derived sauropodomorphs, such as the sauropodiform Genusaurus. Also on the 6th of September, a paper was published in Americaniana describing various teeth from the Campanian Maastrichtian Bagua basin of Peru. Among these were teeth identified as belonging to titanosaurs and, most notably, Spinosaurids. Not only is this the only known Spinosaurid fossil from West and South America, but it's also the only known Spinosaurid fossil that comes from about 20 to 30 million years after we previously thought they went extinct. Yeah, this was pretty much my reaction. However, since the only known fossils of the Spinosaurid are teeth, and we all know about the issues around classifying fossil teeth as unique species, there's also a possibility that these teeth don't actually belong to a Spinosaurid. There is a slight possibility they could belong to similar conical-toothed fish-eating animals such as crocodilians and unulaga. It's been barely 2 weeks, why are we talking about unulagas again? Although, it would be cool if we found out the Spinosaurids survived until the KPG extinction event. And for the Dinosaur News Media section, on the 5th of September, a new video was released on the Jurassic World Evolution channel showcasing the game's campaign, which also revealed that Pachycephalosaurus and Stygimoloch would both be in the game. Then on the 9th of September, the Jurassic World Evolution 3 database was updated again, adding in the new animals Edmontosaurus, Gigantospinosaurus, Dimetrodon, Chronosaurus, and the hybrid Stegoceratops. By new, I mean that these animals haven't previously been revealed in any previous promotional material, making this the first time we have confirmation that they are coming to the game. Also, a new piece of concept art was revealed for the NBC Paleontology documentary Surviving Earth, showing a concept art for the baby Ischigualastia. I know it's not a dinosaur, but I'm struggling for dinosaur media news here. Surviving Earth does have dinosaurs in it, and it's made by the same people who made Walking Dinosaurs, so I'm counting this as Surviving Earth news as opposed to Ischigualastia news. And now for the final story of the week, which will also be part of the non-dinosaur news of the week. Ignore the Ischigualastia bit. Where we look at news about the animals that are most frequently confused with dinosaurs, but actually aren't, with the 5 candidates being pterosaurs, marine reptiles, non-mammalian snapsids, pseudotsuchians, and literally anything else. For this week, it's pterosaurs, and specifically the original pterosaur, Pterodactylus. On the 5th of September, in the journal Biology, a paper was published on 2 neonatal, recently hatched, specimens of Pterodactylus. Both baby pterosaurs had a broken humerus, which the authors were able to identify occurred before its death, as it shared similarities to bats and birds that had broken their wings whilst they were still alive. The study also analysed multiple other specimens of Pterodactylus and found that younger pterosaurs were consistently better preserved than older pterosaurs, usually being more complete, being better articulated, and on occasion containing traces of soft tissues. This paper also proposed a new taphonomic preservation model called the CATT model, the Catastrophic Attrition Taphonomic Model, which explains how there is such a difference in the preservation of pterosaurs depending on their age. For background context, the various formations of the Solnhofen limestone group formed in shallow lagoons. At the bottom of these lagoons, the water was hypersaline and anoxic, preventing organisms from living on the lagoon floor, leaving ideal conditions for any dead animals to be well preserved. In ordinary conditions, Pterodactylus lived inland from these lagoonal environments, so the only way these pterosaurs would be fossilised would be if an adult flew too far out into the lagoons and somehow died out there. Its corpse would fill up with gases, causing it to float on the surface where it could be picked apart by scavengers and begin to decompose, before the rotten scraps sink to the bottom of the lagoon and are eventually buried. However, in stormy conditions, due to their lightweight and inexperience with flying, baby pterosaurs are likely to get blown out to the safety of their preferred coastal environments, which is likely how these 2 specimens broke their wings. Being unable to fly, they would have no way to escape, so they were eventually thrown into the lagoon. The storm-driven waves would waterlog these fallen pterosaurs and cause them to drown, and as the lungs filled with water, they would begin to sink to the bottom of the lagoon floor more rapidly than in the standard conditions, with the toxic water preventing any scavengers from reaching them. The high-energy water caused by the storm would also cause the carcasses to be buried more rapidly than normal, allowing them to be preserved in a better condition. Yes, I know that I am several weeks late for this episode, but I've been incredibly preoccupied with a lot of different things. I will be making episodes for the 10th to the 16th, the 17th to the 23rd, and the 24th to the 30th of September, but they'll really have to be out sometime in early October, because that's 3 weeks worth of videos I have to make. Because of this, I'm thinking that it might be a good idea to merge all three of these into one video to form basically Dinosaur News of the Month. Let me know your opinions in the comments down below. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Dinosaur News of the Week. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future videos. Bye for now.